Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Financial Advisors Want to Know show. Today, I have with me Bill Cates, an expert in referral and relationship marketing. Bill works with financial advisors to speed up their growth without increasing their marketing budget. Advisors tap into Bill's proven process to multiply their best clients through introductions from advocates and centers of influence. Thank you so much for joining me today, Bill.
Hey, just in case anybody misunderstood, it's not Bill Gates. All right. I missed it by one letter. Bill Gates has a lot of money. I'm going to help you make more money by meeting and serving more clients.
I love that. So we were talking a little bit in the pre-show about kind of going through the umbrella of relationship marketing. So could you just give a brief sketch of kind of the categories and the, what's under that umbrella for you?
Yeah, very quick. We got the 3 R's actually. It's relevance, reputation, and referrals. And so with relevance, we actually always have to be relevant, right? That's important no matter what. But how do we communicate our value and it's more relevant to prospects and clients? How do we talk about our differentiation? How do we get clear on who we're trying to attract? All the aspects of strategic and tactical relevance. Reputation is about creating reputation for your business within a target market, generally speaking. And there are exceptions, but generally speaking, the narrower, the better. And by the way, these 3 all feed and serve and talk to each other. We used a Venn diagram to explain these 3, how they overlap. They don't exist in a vacuum. But when you create a reputation in a target market, your relevance is more compelling, right? It's easier to get referrals. And then finally, referrals, multiplying your best clients, and not just referrals, but these days we've been emphasizing introductions. And in fact, I recommend everyone listening, if you're with a prospect client, center of influence, and you're getting proactive around this, make sure you use the word introduction, use the word that represents what you really want. So relevance, reputation, and referrals.
That's great. And let's dig a little bit into just the referrals piece.
Sure.
Because like you were saying in the pre-show, that's where a lot of the fast traction can be for advisors.
Yes.
What would you say, for advisors who aren't happy with the current level of referrals they're getting, what they should be considering, first steps for improving that?
Sure. Well, first of all, you've got to be referable. And one barometer of referability is that you are getting referrals without asking. Most of the folks listening, watching this probably are getting some unsolicited referrals, and those are great. Those count. That's a sign of good relationships, as long as they're the right kind, right? Sometimes we get unsolicited referrals that don't match our business. So that's one element that needs to be attended to. And really, if you just serve your clients well and you communicate who you served well, so they're kind of clear, you can grow incrementally, certainly through referrals and introductions without even asking, without being proactive. But if you want to create exponential growth, if you want to grow faster, then you have to have a level of proactivity. It could be promoting or encouraging introductions. It could be straight away asking, which we can talk about. But a lot of times it's that proactivity that's missing. People come to me for coaching and they say, Bill, how do I do this without looking like the creepy referral guy? I hear creepy referral guy, cheesy referral guy, sleazy referral guy. I've heard it all.
Yeah.
And the good news is there is a way to do that. And we can talk about that today.
Yeah. So what's the way? I think that's the golden question, because what you were saying with that, I don't want to be cheesy. I don't want to seem thirsty. I don't want to seem needy.
Right.
But you want to grow your business, right? Yeah. So let's get into it.
Yeah, so I'd like to work on 3 levels: principles, strategies, and tactics. And I'll cover all 3 right now. So one of the principles, by the way, is you have to be referable. Another principle around asking for referrals, introductions properly, is to make sure it's coming from a client-centered, value-centered perspective. The way referrals have been taught for so long in this industry, and why a lot of people are reluctant to do it at all, is because it's been an advisor-centered method. It's, let me tell you how I get paid. I get paid in 2 ways or 3 ways, or I'm trying to build my business. I can really use your help. And while there's nothing wrong with asking for help, in this case, we're asking for help to help others to bring the value. It's about paying it forward. Let me give you a specific example. I've been coaching one advisor out of New Jersey. When I met him, he had $365 million under management, already doing pretty well. But he was reluctant to be proactive for referrals because he saw it as the old way, about being needy, asking for help, etc. And when I just showed him that he could shift his perspective and make it all about bringing the value to others and who's the next person to receive this value, boy, things really flipped for him. And he's now over $1 billion in assets under management. So that's the principle at hand. Now, strategically speaking, we want to have a process. I teach a process I call the VIPS method. Very quick. V is a value discussion. We want to make sure we check in to see that the clients are seeing the value. I is treated with importance. Make sure that we put this out in a way that will be received well. That it's not a oh, by the way, you don't happen to know anyone, do you, kind of method, because it's important work and it deserves to be treated that way. Getting permission to brainstorm, to collaborate. This is not something you do to someone. This is something you do with someone. And then the last one, S, suggest names and categories. That's what I call the bullseye referral, where we come prepared with specific people we know they know. Now we're getting tactical, right? Specific people we know they know that we've picked up through working with them in the past, and or categories, the traditional money in motion, life event categories. Because look, if an advisor looks at his or her book of business, my guess is a predominance of those clients, 70, 80%, you got on their radar because they had something going on in their life. And money intersects all aspects of one's life. So these money in motion, trigger events, life events, these are good. These are tried and true ways to determine, folks, that your clients know people who should know about you. But they don't realize they know people until you help educate them a little bit about the types of categories that people are going through. So that's in a nutshell, right? It is we're proactive. We're proactive in a way it's about the value. It's about paying it forward to others. And then it's a collaborative event. So nobody feels pushed into doing anything they don't want to do. It's okay if they don't want to do this.
That's great. And for people looking to, because I'm like very systems oriented person, it's like, okay, great. I'm going to put together, a meeting agenda that isn't going to be client facing, but in my mind, it's like, this is what I'm looking at when I'm having this conversation.
Okay.
What kind of cadence would you recommend people have these conversations with their clients on? Is this just an annual thing? Like,
Right.
How often should they be having this conversation?
Well, let me give you a little formula, and formulas are meant to be broken. By the way, I love the fact you use an agenda, and I think even having a client-facing agenda is okay. And on the agenda, near the end, could be the words value discussion or value check-in, and that that's going to be the place to check in to make sure they're seeing value.
That's great.
And then you may ask, you may not, you see how it goes, but it's built into the agenda. And if you share the agenda with a client, then you're kind of obligated to hit all the items, so it kind of holds you accountable a little bit, right? But the cadence. So we're usually not going to ask right away first meeting, unless you have a very open personality kind of person, and it just kind of comes up naturally. But my formula is this: provide some value, check in, make sure they're seeing the value of the meeting, of the process, and then plant the seed. Don't keep me a secret, or we're never too busy to see if we can be a resource for others you care about. Next time we get together, could be discovery, could be a recommendations meeting, could be a delivery of a plan, whatever. We've been through a process, tell me the value you feel you're getting. So the first two, we're going to check in for value and plant the seed. The third time we get together, it's kind of the charm. That's when it's time to come prepared and be ready to explore a little bit further. That's something you can do early in a relationship, within the first 100 days, certainly. And then, probably at least once a year, you want to have this conversation. Again, it's going to depend a little bit on the personality of the client. Look, there'll be some folks that just don't want to do this, and you'll see it, and you back off gracefully, and you haven't hurt the relationship because you're only asking people that are seeing the value, and you may never ask them again. Others may be very forthcoming, and you can ask a little more often. Come prepared each time a little bit more. So, that's kind of the cadence. But I do recommend this value check or this expectations check to do almost every meeting. That's something, whether you promote or ask after that, just check in, because one of the killer of relationships we know is when there's been a problem that hasn't been communicated and hasn't been resolved, and maybe they just need to get the negative energy out of the way. So we want to check in on a regular basis. And the principle here is that a relationship that's had a problem that's been handled well is a stronger relationship than one that's never had a problem. So we're looking for these issues. We're looking for little gaps in expectations to make sure that we have a strong relationship with our clients, and that'll make us more referable in the long run.
I love that. That's such a great concept to put at the end of every meeting. I love that.
Thank you.
So for advisors who are skittish about implementing this, because, this is going to be my first at bat having a more active referral asking process.
Yes.
How do you recommend they, do those first couple of at bats where they're more afraid they're going to strike out, and how they can approach this in a way that, it's going to be lower pressure for them and that they can get comfortable with having these conversations?
A few things here. First of all, make a love list. The love list, clients who love you. Now, don't say all your clients love you. Yeah, maybe they do, but I'm talking about the ones who really love you. You can kind of bumble through this. They'll feel sorry for you and still give you referrals. And clients who've already done this, whether you asked or not, that's your love list. That could be 10, could be 20, can be 30, depends on your practice. So you want to look at that. Then you want to maybe ease into it. If you've not been asking on a regular basis, it's hard to go from 0 to 60 right away. So do the value check, do the expectations check, and then plant the seed. Don't keep me a secret. Never too busy to see if we can be a resource for other people you care about. Teach people how you would handle it. In my book, The Language of Referrals, I give about 11 different ways to plant the seed. And then so you ease your way into that asking over time. So it you don't have to do it all at once. You ease yourself into it.
Yeah, that's great. So I think we have a little more time to talk about maybe the two other parts of the umbrella. So between relevance and reputation, where do you think is like the next biggest place that advisors should focus on? Kind of once they're toes dipped in the referrals, they feel like they're getting traction there. Where should their energy be directed?
Yeah, let's talk about relevance, because that's about how you talk about your value. And if you're going to start being a little more proactive, then you better have a really good value prop ready to go, right? Because you're going to be needing to communicate that with other people. Plus, the clearer you get on your value prop and communicate that with your current clients, that kind of teaches them how to talk about you as well. So one thing I want to hit on is there's a lot of talk about what makes you different, differentiation. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't know what that is. It depends on the situation. If you're in a competitive situation, if you're going after folks with a lot of money who are probably interviewing more than one advisor, then certainly you need to know what makes you a little bit different, as long as that difference matters. In my book, Radical Relevance, one of the rules of relevance is only differences that matter. Now, I'll tell you what doesn't make you different. The fact that you care about your clients, the fact that you give customized solutions, the fact that you have great service. I'm not saying you don't talk about those things, you should, but they're not differentiators because everyone else is doing it. Now, the neat thing about a target market or vertical market, employees in a large company or business owners in a certain industry or medical practices or, all the various types of target markets, is your value is going to be more readily present, and your differentiation is there. That's a differentiator that makes a difference. So, but if you're not in a competitive situation, clients don't care so much about what makes you different as are you right for them? That's what they really care about. And if there is a differentiator that makes you right for them, then you certainly want to have that. But really building trust and building trust through questions, through getting to know people. I interviewed a guy from my podcast who has like a 95% conversion rate from prospect to client. And he does it because of all the questions he asks and how he really gets to know the prospects. And therefore, any recommendations are so relevant. I mean, they're radically relevant, tailored, specific. And that person feels like this advisor knows me, understands me. Why would I go with anybody else? So that's a little bit about relevance and getting to know your prospects and clients in a super relevant way.
Oh, that's great. I love that. That's great. Great feedback. Well, thank you, Bill, for joining me today. I really appreciate the time, and just, in such a short amount of time, you were able to go so deep. It's amazing. So for people who are looking to connect with you, and more specifically, you've got a new book out, where should people connect with you, and maybe talk a little bit about kind of the new book and where people can get more resources?
So languageofreferrals.com, languageofreferrals.com. There's a little video there, fun video, and you can learn about the book and go to Amazon after that for that if you want. We got it in Kindle, got it in audio, because it's the language of referrals. It was important that I did an audio version so people could hear how I deliver the language. And a lot of free resources. If you just want to dip your toe into my world and get some things for free, some guides and videos, just go to referralcoach.com/resources, referralcoach.com/resources. Lots of complimentary items there. You can sign up for our weekly tips if you want, and reach out and let me know what your questions are.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bill. This was a fantastic episode, and I took things away that I'm going to use in my practice. So that's how you know it's good.
You bet. My pleasure.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining, and everyone listening. Those resources will be in the show notes near wherever you're interacting with this. And please feel welcome to reach out if you have feedback for us on the episode. Want to get connected with Bill. Thanks again.